On this episode, we're digging back in the archives all the way back to March 6th of 2021 with Sarah Moda. Hope you guys enjoy.
Hi everyone, Raphael Harry here, and you're listening to White Label American, a podcast where we hear stories from an immigrant or two, sometimes more. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Welcome to another episode of White Label American. Thank you all for joining us today. Appreciate you all. And before we begin, I'd like to give a shout out to my patrons, Keith, Danielle, Elena, Jeff, Mark, Martha, Sarah, who's with us in the studio today, Verena, Brenda, Jennifer, Sean, Kevin, Unena, and brand new patron, Vanessa. Thank you for being patrons and making this podcast possible and building a new community. And for our first-time listeners and regulars who at this moment may not be able to sign up on Patreon, we understand. We know it's not easy right now for everybody. And you can still support us by sharing, subscribing, and giving us 5 stars and leaving a positive review on iTunes or whatever platform that you listen on. But most important of all, subscribe and keep sharing, okay? So without much further ado, I introduce today's guest. She's an entrepreneur. She's had her hearts in multiple fields, from banking, real estate, to nonprofit or NGOs, as it's known in your part of the world, non-governmental organizations. And she is born in the same country as I was born, but from a different region and tribe entirely. So that's another reason why I wanted to bring her. But she's an all-around great person, fantastic individual. And there's a whole lot to this woman that I admire and I haven't even scratched the surface of. But that's why she's here, because she's going to, introduce us to a whole lot. And it's about learning and having fun while we are learning, and it's about bridging the gap. And at this moment in time, Nigeria is it's very hot politically, and there's a lot of stuff going on. And if you meet most people outside of Nigeria, a lot of people are familiar with the Yoruba tribe. Everybody, they tend to, first thing people ask, why are you Yoruba? A lot of the music you hear from Nigeria today is mostly Yoruba focused or Yoruba based hip hop artists, and everybody tends to just assume that a country of over 300 tribes or ethnic groups is all Yoruba or is just Lagos. And there's a whole lot to that country. There are a whole lot of people that exist there whose stories have not been told, who do not get to be represented, and it is good to hear from other people that exist there. Other people whose stories and experiences are a lot different from just Lagos. And it's not bad to hear from people from Lagos, but we can't just give the whole shine to Lagos. I'm not Lagos, then I exist. So that's another reason why I brought today's guest here, Sarah Haruna Moda. Welcome to White Label American. How are you doing today?
Hi, Ralph. Thank you very, very much. And thank you for having me. And I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. We've known each other since how long? For forever. But we've not, we've gotten a lot closer in the last few years. But we've known each other for it feels like centuries now. But we're not that old. We're young. We're still very young. We're like 21. Don't let these young kids start thinking that.
Yeah,
we are old people.
21 is good.
So thank you for joining us today, and let's dive in and begin. So most people hear your name, Sarah Haruna Moda, and do most people assume that you're born in Nigeria, or people assume that you're related to Nigeria?
Not many, actually. I do, some people kind of are familiar with the name Haruna because it's from the Hausa tribe. and it's got its origin from the Arabic kind of region. However, I'm mostly mistaken to be a South African or Malaysian, Malawian, or just somewhere different, not Nigeria. And then I ended up saying, yes, I am from Nigeria, and I am from the north. And then that's when all the questions come in. Wow, we've never met in Northern Nigeria in the UK. We've never met, somebody who speaks Hausa, or, there's only a few of you here. So why are you here? So then I dive into answering questions and raising awareness about the North, etc. Yes.
Unsurprising. Yeah. So, where in Nigeria were you born?
So I was born in Gombe, and Gombe is a state in Nigeria, northern Nigeria, from the northern part of Nigeria. It was originally derived from Bauchi State, so we're now a state of our own. So I was born there.
That came out from Bauchi. I was thinking,
yes,
Gongola,
former
Gongola. Okay.
That's Yola. Yes, Adamawa State. Yes. So I was born in Gombe, and and almost kind of raised there. I was all over the place, but Gombe is.
Well, so what city? What's your city called? The city that you were born in?
Gombe State, inside Gombe.
Oh, inside Gombe. Okay.
So Gombe town.
Oh,
so Gombe is the town and the state.
Yeah, I don't think I was. I'm not sure I ever visited Gombe. Maybe I've driven past there, maybe as a kid. But last time I was in Bauchi was, I was probably a kid. I think Bauchi has one waterfall, right?
Yes, it does have Yankari.
The memory is coming back now. Because my mom was a federal civil servant, so I was born in Jos, and so we did. Sometimes I went on trips with my mom, and we'll go visit different parts of the north, and because I spoke Hausa as a child, and Hausa was one of my first languages. I spoke Hausa and Yoruba. And
so you weren't far away from Gombe.
So I remember that waterfall. Bauchi, the only thing I remember about Bauchi is the waterfall. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I schooled in Bauchi too. So yes, I know Bauchi and I know Jos.
Oh yeah. Everybody knows Jos. Jos used to be extra beautiful then. I don't know about now.
It was small London. We call it small
London. Oh, and I never.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I add that now too. I was born in small London.
Yeah. Yes, you were born in small London. Yeah.
So, your ethnic group, is it Hausa or one of the other tribes that exist in the north that people don't really know about?
Yes. So the general ethnic group would be Hausa.
Okay.
And but in Hausa, there are loads of different tribes and different, from the region. There are a lot of different tribes, and I speak Tera also. So Tera is the tribe basically, but Hausa call it a lingua franca.
Okay.
So in the north, most people speak Hausa language, but there are so many perceptions anyway about the north.
Yeah.
And people get wrong about the ethnic group in the north, the ethnic groups in the north.
Yeah, I remember that first time I saw that. I don't even know what textbook that was. And it wasn't even a book that they were using to teach us. I think I was in Ibadan or Benin. I can't remember which city. But somebody brought the book to school and by mistake, and it just had different tribes in per state. And that's when I saw or I noticed that Adamawa had 66 tribes within it, and I was like, wait, what are all these people? No, I never heard about them, So you just said yours is Tira or
Tera, yeah, T-R-A.
Tera,
yes.
Wow. And this is the first time I'm hearing about that.
Exactly.
And there's so many that exist because we keep hearing that number about 300. I'm like, who makes it 300? Like, how does it get to be 300? But we don't even know. We don't know that people exist, and but we just assume everybody is just Hausa. We just blanket it with Hausa, and
yes,
that's another reason why it's like a lot easier to hate everybody from the north because of the political situation and based on a few of the elite.
Yeah.
So just they're all
Yeah.
Muslims, they're all Hausa, and then that's it. And then
Yeah.
so it's like
Yeah.
every
And
other
that's the
tribe
common.
exists in the south, or what?
Yeah, and that's the common perception, isn't it?
Mhm.
That everybody in the north. So there are quite a few perceptions that people get kind of wrong. And for me, obviously, I always get the religious perception and the ethnic perception as well. So yeah, generally when people say know that you're from the north, especially from the south, or the southerners and the easterners think that the north, basically the region, is not mainly Muslim or wholly Muslim.
Yeah.
Right. So whenever I meet somebody from the south and I introduce myself as Sarah, I'm correctly placed as a Christian. But once I'm asked my state and I say Gombe state, the next question comes up, are you Muslim? So, that's when we start to dive into, okay, so the perception is, yes, everybody from the north is, kind of Muslim, but it's not always correct.
So your family, have they been Christian? Well, let me see. In your tribe, is there a large percentage of Christians there, or is it like an equal percentage of Muslims, Christians, something like to your knowledge?
It's a good mix, I would say, or should I say 60,
Or even with the
40
traditionalists too, because I know there are cities and
They're
tribes and
traditionalists,
places in the
yes.
north that
Yeah.
still follow the old traditional practice that
Yeah.
the caliphate campaign didn't succeed in wiping out.
Yeah, there are still there, but I would say probably not very common in Gombe State.
Okay.
But yeah, the main ones are you're either Christian or you're Muslim.
Of course.
But the main perception I personally, get from Southerners and Easterners in Nigeria, they believe that Northerners are all Muslims. And another thing about the perception of being in an ethnic group is that we're all Hausas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird. Okay. So for me, yes, I actually have a fair share of Hausa blood through my paternal grandmother. She is from Sokoto State. Well, initially Zamfara State.
Yeah.
So there's a good mix of Hausa Fulani in me there. However, it is only the northeast. It's only the northwest, that is close to being homogeneous. Mainly Hausa and Fulani. But with still minority tribes in like Zulu area of Kebbi State. And so Kebbi State is down northwest. And the multiple diverse southern Kaduna.
Yeah.
So Kaduna, yes. And
Oh,
then the northeast,
Kaduna.
yes. Yes. And the northeast and north central is filled with tribes, like many of whom I have never even heard of. And
Wow.
for example, like Adamawa State, you did touch on that, but Adamawa State is so diverse that obviously is the largest ethnic group. And for example, the Fulani is just 3 to 5% of the entire population of Adamawa State. The rest are like different tribes. I cannot name all of them. There are quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a perception. In the north, there's so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot to know, and there is a lot to learn. So yeah, this is the two I could kind of touch on right now: religious perception and ethnic perception.
Yeah.
So not everybody is, originally Hausa. Is a lingua franca in the north. But trust me, there are people even in my village that cannot speak Hausa. They just speak the Tira language or whatever language in whatever villages that they come from.
Wow.
So it's just it's interesting. It's incredible. I love it.
Yeah, that's why it's necessary to have conversations like this, so we can see where, like, I've made these same assumptions too, even though I was born in Jos, but I was a kid when I left Jos, so my brain hadn't really formed that much, and my perception when I was speaking Hausa when I left Jos, so it was easy to fall into that trap of everybody in the
Yeah.
North speaks Hausa one way or the other, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's important to have these conversations and know people from every other place. And it also speaks to our system, the educational system that we have too, because in the
Yeah.
South, I still remember my primary school books not mentioning anything about any other person. It's just Igbo, Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba. And one day I'm like, wait, what about my Ijo? Where we at? Like I'm living in
I
Benin
know.
City. They speak Benin here. There's Ishekiri. There's Ishan. There's
Yeah.
and he start, and then why will people not start getting mad one day? Like, where am I? Why? When am I going to be? And all these things lays ground the foundation for a lot of the troubles that we are having today. So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
important for kids and adults to see themselves represented. And if you want
Yeah.
people to belong, to feel, have a sense of belonging, stop making it like only one person has everything. If
Yeah.
everybody belongs, then
Absolutely.
put everybody in there. So, with that being said, what do you consider your favorite childhood memory?
This is quite easy. Okay. So I think for me is visiting the village for Christmas. Like once it's like 23rd of December, we're
Uh
all
huh.
like gearing up to hit the village, right? So because all my cousins are all, scattered around the world, around the country, parts of Nigeria, and we would all of us meet in the village in Gombe, in Zambuk, actually, that's my village. And gosh, we played some fun games. Like, so, we played and we ate lots of, food, the real stuff that grandparents cooked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, ultimately spending time, quality time with my cousins that I haven't seen for years or for, throughout the year until December. And just getting to know the many grandparents, not just immediate grandparents and the many aunties, literally everybody's auntie and
Yeah.
everybody's uncle, everybody's grandpa and grandma. But it's just that sense of community. I just honestly that is my favorite childhood memory. I still remember like we were let loose, like you could
Mm-hmm.
actually run around and do things and go like there's no fear of being lost.
Yeah.
Like wherever you are, you found, oh yeah, this child just landed from whatever state
Mm-hmm.
is the daughter of this and that. Like it's easy to just find your way. It was just incredible. So yes, going home, going to the village for Christmas celebrations and New Year,
Oh
and
yeah,
then from the
Christmas and
second,
New
that's when
Year.
we all
It's
dressed up. Yeah,
it's one
Christmas and New
package
Year.
celebration.
Yes, yes, yeah. I
um,
loved, I loved it. Yeah, I
what,
loved
what
those.
what what were
Yeah.
some of the games that you played?
Wow. Okay, so there's this one. I don't know if you know. It's called 1010.
I
Right.
was wait.
Basically, it's like
I had it in my mind that you said that.
yeah,
I never
like
liked
it's
that
like
game because all the girls used to whoop us.
yeah, it's like jumping. Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
like proper. Like I don't know how to explain or to describe it, but
yeah,
anybody
it's okay,
listening
it's
to this,
fine.
if they're Nigerian, they'll know 1010. I loved it. And then like skip rope, and then obviously the normal riddles and jokes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and yeah, I think then I didn't know what truth or dare or whatever they were, but yeah, those kind of games
Mm-hmm.
brought so much joy and happiness. And
Ah.
10.
Yeah, I think 1010 was one of those games that I just love to hate because I think most of the boys who I knew hated 1010 because we were never going to win. The girls always beat us. So we just, be talking trash like all these girls. Like, it's a girl sport. Girl game, we don't play
Yeah,
it. But it's just because we couldn't beat any girls. Like, if we could beat girls at it, then we probably would have been like, yeah, we like it. But, every time we try to
I
play it,
bet.
girls will beat us. And, the boys' ego and the
Yeah.
messaging that we had then was like, you shouldn't lose to a girl. So we don't want to play this sport. 'Cause how we gonna
No,
play
the
a
girls
game?
always won.
That girls were winning.
Girls always won. Yeah.
Ah. So what are some of the traditional cuisines that let me not say traditional. What are some of the cuisines that you guys have in the Tira um, tribe?
Right. Right. Okay. So for I think generally I would say there is masa.
Mm-hmm.
So masa is like rice cake, really. Like,
Mm.
do you know? Yeah, it's similar to crumpet, something you'd have in the morning. They're all over the supermarket.
Okay.
But this one is slightly different to crumpet. But there's a closest explanation I can give. But it's rice based basically. It's a mixture of raw rice and cooked rice blended together, like
Oh,
mixed
raw and
together,
cooked.
thoroughly blended. Yes, together.
Wow.
And then I think it goes through a process of fermentation.
Okay.
Like it's a whole different game. Like it's so nice, right? Okay, so masa is one of the things that in the mornings on the streets you see people just like you see akara.
Mm-hmm.
Akara is kind of generally in Nigeria
Yeah.
or in West Africa, but masa is kind of tailored to the north, and most states in the north know about masa, especially Bauchi. When you say masa, we say is it masa Bauchi? Like is it masa from Bauchi? Because like they are known for it.
Okay.
So that you can eat that with anything, literally anything. But the main thing that goes with it is a sauce, a spinach sauce. Or you can have it with just chili. You can have it with these days you can have it with anything. You can have it with Nutella. You can have it with jam. But I think what goes well with it for me is that spinach sauce.
That sounds very
So
healthy.
that's mass. It's kind of I think it is. Apart from the rice, the carbs and the rice.
Yeah.
But with the veg, with the spinach, it kind of complements it. And so masa is one, and obviously there are other things like damwake. So I'm saying it the way that a northern person would say damwake. So damwake is
Menwake.
beans. Yeah, damwake. So DAN. Then wake is beans.
Uh-huh.
So damwake it's beans dumpling basically, and that one too is a different ball game. It's a mixture of baobab. So baobab powder is one of the power what do they call them? Superfoods, like power foods.
Yeah.
And baobab is really healthy for you. So we mix the bean powder with baobab and mix it. Like it's a process also, but you eat that with some chili also. So that is another one. Especially for my tribe, for Tera. And wake is huge. Like when you eat that in the morning, like the farmers, when they eat that in the morning and go to the farm, basically that's it. They just drink water. It stays in the belly until evening when they're back home.
That's what I should have eaten when I was doing laborer work in Port Harcourt and other places when I was doing some hustling. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I needed.
Okay.
I never knew. I know baobab 3. Yeah, I know the 3.
Yes.
But I don't think it grows. I think it only grows in the north, if I'm not mistaken, or the Sahel, the Sahel region. I think it has particular places that it grows in. I know it's a particular type of.
I think so.
It has a particular shape to it, and look.
So the leaf is is the leaf that is dried and then made into powder.
Wow.
And voila, you eat it. You can drink it these days. I've seen it in like TJ Maxx, and shops like herbal shops, like the shops that we have here. I've seen them. So,
wow. So
that's one thing.
You have to send me that after this recording, so I can go look it up. I can look it up. I'll definitely try it. Like wow. Yeah. I started working out now, so I might need some of that too.
Cool. Well done.
Yeah.
But those are the traditional cuisines around there.
If I had known about something like that back in my Navy days, I probably would have joined the special ops. And who knows?
Or I'll send you a recipe you can do. I'm sure it's not too bad.
As far as it's not, that's one reason why I don't do stuff like moi moi or akara. It's like too much labor intensive.
It's too much.
I'm just there for the eating. I order and eat instead. I found.
But Nigerian foods, right? Generally, they're just not easy to quickly whiz.
That's the problem.
Even normal jollof rice, you take over an hour to cook it.
Yeah. I think the easiest to make right now is probably banga, all because of they've done the hard work for you and just processed it into the can.
Yeah, they've got it in the tins.
So you just empty it. Yeah. You see, I forgot my British English. You just call it tin, and I'm like can. I'm all Americanized now. So being that you were born in Gombe, you remember
Yeah.
your first time of leaving Gombe and leaving Northern Nigeria, your first experience outside of Northern Nigeria? What was that like for you?
Yeah, I think my first experience of leaving the north was going to the east, going to Imo State, because my
Ah,
dad worked there. And obviously everything was just different. Like they had more green leaves around there because like the rain fell often there.
yeah.
So yeah, there was a bit of a, what should I call it, cultural shock. Like there was something to the air. There's something, there's something different
Yeah, because
that
not is much drier and being closer to
drier.
the
Yes,
Sahara
yeah,
Desert. Yeah.
yes. So I absolutely loved it. I still would go to the east. But yeah, it
Well,
was just, I think the people, obviously, they all were curious to understand or to know more about the North. Like,
hmm
oh, this person's daughter is here now, or the family are here. So how is it like, in the North? So it was a period of learning and unlearning and relearning as well
yeah.
of the culture of the people, of the Igbo people. And they were, really, really nice people. They are still nice people. Some of the closest people to me are from the east. So that was the
How old
first
were
time.
you then?
I was, let's see, I was 10. Yeah, it was just before I went to high school.
Okay. Yeah. So
And
10 is
just before I
prime.
went to high school, yeah,
hmm
about 10 years. And I think we carried on going like every holiday we would go. And I think until when I was like nearly my late teens, I think.
So
Yeah.
was it
Yeah.
Owerri you went to? Or?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it was Ori. Yes, my
Uh-huh.
dad works in Ori. So, and I've been to Olu. I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Yeah.
I've been to Mbise, like some of those. Yeah, yeah. So I know a bit in Imo State,
I think I've only been
about Imo State
to
too.
Owerri. I don't think I even spent probably. I've been to Owerri, but I can't remember why I went there. But I've been there
Okay,
for something. But
okay.
yeah, but
Yeah, no,
yeah, I know that there's if you strip away the political noise,
yeah,
Igbos and Northerners, there's a very good relationship between
absolutely. Yes, I was
Igbos
going to
and
say that
Northerners.
too. Yeah, yes,
It's just like the same way that there's a very good relationship between Igbos and Yorubas. And but I say people in the West because there's none. Everybody in the West is not Yoruba. They're like
yeah, yeah,
the original, the indigenous group of Lagos is not Yoruba. I forgot what they're called in
yeah,
Badagry. So Igbos have, but it's part of this somehow, somewhere that misconception language and the political noise just became something. And so if you're going by that garbage that's out there, it makes it look like everybody hates Igbo people. But when you strip it down to people's interactions, you see that
yes,
everybody's been interacting with Igbo people all this time. My people have, and you see that's why, like, I have a very good relationship with lots of Igbos. Yes, I've had bad
yeah.
relationships with Igbo people too, but yeah, I think majority of my girlfriends have also been Igbo, so there's
Oh,
that too.
okay.
It'll be
Uh,
weird to say I have bad relationship with Igbo people and I've been dating Igbo women at the same time. That's kind of
this is a different topic now. I would come back and ask you more about this.
okay. Yeah, feel free, feel free. Well, yeah, I always notice like there's always Josh is laughing, just like that.
Oh goodness. But
uh,
yeah, really, they're
yeah.
they're good people. They were easy going and easy to interact with.
hmm
And then, touch on business. There you go. They
They,
just want to explore
yeah.
every business avenue you.
Yeah, if you want to learn business, those are the guys you go to. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, all the business schools in Nigeria should be set up in the East. To be honest, there's so many things to learn from there, but it's just that
From
we
their
have our
wealth of experience. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there's so much to tap from there, but it's just the way we do things. There's just somehow weird. So you attended secondary school or high school, as we call it here, in Bauchi, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
so was that experience different for you, being that you were no longer in your city, you were away from home? Was it a boarding school that you attended?
Yes, it was a boarding school. I went to Federal Government Girls College,
Oh,
Bauchi.
yeah. Okay.
And
That's a
yeah,
big
so
school.
it's, to be honest, then yes. Uh, but yeah, there wasn't any much difference at all because, like, literally, Bauchi and Gombe was just under 2 hours drive, and we ate the same thing. We were part of Bauchi, obviously, so it was like home away from home.
Okay.
But apart from obviously being in a boarding school environment, it was a completely different thing. Like, and I was one of the youngest in my set, so I was always homesick. I was always crying. But obviously I grew into it and I kind of understood. I didn't know how to soak curry. Like I was
Ah.
just at it was yes, I didn't like. But Gary had to be like number one on the list of provision. I
Mm-hmm.
remember.
Yep.
But
Everybody
yeah,
student that I know, Gary. If you don't take Gary, which is cassava, dried cassava,
yes, yes,
into grains, it's a process.
yeah.
Yeah, it's something that you can't survive boarding school. You're not supposed to survive. I mean, you can survive, but you come out looking like you came out of a war zone or something. Yeah.
True, true.
So
Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't different from Gombe really, apart from just the experience of being in boarding school with
so
people from all parts of the country.
we're there too. Yeah, because that's another thing with federal government schools. They always had people from
Yeah,
all over the country there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
another thing about boarding schools is I know many people attending boarding schools, and I know the stories. So for you, what was your boarding school experience like? Was it on the positive side, the negative side, or neutral side?
To be honest, I would say it was positive actually. Like, yeah, I did have like, a bit of a bad experience,
Mm-hmm.
but which was normal for a boarding school where maybe a senior student would bully you, but for whatever reasons, you pick up yourself and move on. But I count myself one of the lucky ones, I would say, that even amongst my mates and seniors and juniors, I think I just kind of blended in. I got along with most of them, most people, and there's this perception about if you're in boarding school, you should learn how to make hair, or or if you don't, basically it's like you have to make somebody's hair for somebody to make yours. But in that instance, I didn't need to. Hence why I do not know how to to use my hands to make my own
Ah,
hair. Because I was lucky that I had all that luxury of my friends and my colleagues, my friends and juniors and seniors, um, always kind of available for me to do some of those things.
mm-hmm. So there was
But
no
yeah, I
pressure on
really,
you.
yeah,
Yeah,
there was no pressure. Honestly, there wasn't pressure. But yeah, I loved it. I loved it. I still, most of my very close friends are my secondary school friends, people I
nice.
went to boarding school with. Yes.
That's good. So after boarding school, you did your whole secondary school was boarding school, right?
Yes, the whole of it. Yeah, from
Okay.
JS1 to SS3. Yes.
All right. So was that when you moved to the UK? Was
No, no,
there was something in between?
no. Yes. I started university in Nigeria and didn't finish. I
Where
moved
did
to
you go to
UK.
university?
I went to University of Jos, but before University of Jos, I went to the Federal Polytechnic in Bauchi. But so
You
many
didn't
things
want to leave
happened in
Bauchi.
between.
You still wanted to stay in Bauchi.
I wanted to say about you for so many reasons, obviously. But yeah, after high school, we wrote during high school we wrote the JAMB exams.
Yes.
The Yes, and didn't get to the university that I wanted, and
Oh yeah, the cutoff
basically
mark
I had to,
thing and all
the
that.
cut-off marks, and I had
Good
to
stuff.
wait.
Hmm.
Did another one, and then basically the result was pended. So time was kind of going, and I'm like feeling left behind. So then the Federal Polytechnic option was the one readily available. So I kind of jumped on it because I was like, yeah, time is going. I need to go into a tertiary institution. And so I did a diploma in the Federal Polytechnic in Bauchi. And
Oh, so
yeah,
it
from
was
there,
from your diploma you
yes,
moved
I went to
to.
university.
Okay, yeah, that used to
Yeah,
be one process, one means of gaining admission to university
university,
back
yes.
then. But I think now they've upgraded polytechnics finally to university levels. Because polytechnics were
Yeah,
they're universities, but they used to do this weird thing of looking down on people who graduated from
yes,
polytechnics. That
yes,
yeah, say if you didn't graduate from a university, and polytechnics actually do are more technical universities. That's what they are. That's why they're called
yeah,
polytechnics. But
that's
Nigerians,
true.
the system is so fancy with words. So they're like, polytechnic, nah, it's a downgrade on university is the big thing. I'm like, so
And it's true though. I also had that because like I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I have to go to university,
hmm
and but it was just what it dawned on me that 2 years gone past, and I'm still waiting for university. And when obviously the parents had to come in, it was like, you need to jump on, you need to go in now.
yeah.
So yeah, I didn't want that that crown of I went to the polytechnic. So but I did,
Yeah,
and
I was like
that was
that too
another good
because I could
experience.
have gone to a polytechnic, but I was also looking down on polytechnics because it's like, yeah, you go to polytechnics, who you can't. I knew people who attended polytechnics, graduated from polytechnics, and then went to universities and like because it's like, oh, I'm not getting a job with a polytechnic, so I have to go get university degree. But it wasn't really about your degree. If you knew people, you get a job easily. But there's still that discrimination that was happening because of the degree that you came with that said polytechnic, and it took the
Yeah.
federal government upgrading, accrediting polytechnics as the same as universities. Just I'm like, yeah, Nigeria self, they got some weird things that they do. But so what did you study? Well, did you study the same thing at the Polytechnic and university?
Similar, yes. So I did business administration and management at Polytechnic.
Okay.
But in between that, I didn't jump into university immediately because so basically when you finish the diploma,
Yeah.
you apply for university for direct entry. But whilst you're
Oh
doing
yeah,
that,
that's what it's called. Yes,
you
I remember.
yes, because you couldn't just rely on that. Anything could happen. So the next thing is it's either you go and do an IT, so
Mm-hmm.
industrial training, at a organization anywhere, companies, and then just in case you didn't get into university, you could come back and do a higher national diploma, your HND.
Yeah.
So whilst I applied to university, I thought, okay, let's try this IT thing, and then that's when I ventured into banking with a diploma.
Wow.
And yes, I worked in the banks with my diploma, and I think it was a good decision I did because the university, when the direct entry um, admissions came out, there was a whole lot of a mix up that basically didn't get me to go into the university. So if I'd waited and did nothing,
Mm-hmm.
didn't do the IT, that would be another year wasted. So I jumped
Uh,
into banking industry and then did like some years, and then eventually had to jump into the university. So yeah, I was a kind of a late bloomer or something in university.
no,
And
I don't think you were late. I went to university at what? I was in my 30s when I started university. So that's a
oh,
grandfather bloomer or what? But I know people were older than me who still went to university
yeah, of
in
course,
their 50s and
there would always
60s.
be.
Actually, my friends, one of my friend in Ibadan, his grandfather had retired, or yeah, he had retired, and he was like, "I'm bored at home," so he applied. He took jump and went to University of Ibadan, and he
Wow.
passed. And I was like, "Man, I didn't pass jump."
Yeah. No, but
this this
I've
old man
met
passed
people like
jump
that.
ahead of me. I was like, "Man, that's embarrassing."
No, but jam was quite hard.
Yeah,
Seriously.
Nigerian exams, they're actually meant to make you fail, and there's two things about them, like Jamb and Waek. It's not about seeing the process of, they appreciate the process, like something like mathematics. They appreciate you. They see, like, they make you. They don't do the what's it called, the multiple choice answers.
Yeah.
They focus more on
Solving that
you
equation.
solve the whole thing, you solve the whole equation, you show you how you will work it. But just because you miss this, you miss one step, we fail the whole thing. I knew people who intentionally did that. And then you have some professors who are just lazy, or whatever they call them, is it proctors or whatever, who mark these exams because they didn't want to spend money. So they will go get some professors and guys from neighboring schools in some cities. And then these guys be like, you know what? I'm going to get my students to come mark these exams for me. So I ended up marking some exams for some.
Wow.
I did that for WAEC. There was this highbrow, these evening lessons that what we call lessons. Yeah, so I attended one with some mad rich kids. And this one of the professors, the guy I was teaching agricultural science, he got us to mark the guys who he was cool with. He invited us to come to his place, and he brought a whole bunch of, I think it was WAEC or GCE. I can't remember which one we did. But we got to mark other people's stuff. And, man, when you got tired, you just, like, man, I was just like, pass. Just, you got it. I was like,
goodness.
yeah, man, I ain't gonna be feeling my fellow students. I'll just be feeling people. But just imagine somebody in a bad mood, like, man, I'm just gonna feel, but who's gonna check it? This was 1998, 99. So what was the process of, what's the due process for checking? And so that's how some people feel, and you couldn't explain why did this kid feel. This kid shouldn't fail those exams, and then their family gonna beat them or curse the hell out of them. And
you wasted school fees.
Some sad stories coming out. That person is depressed. But, when I got to do stuff like that, and I was asking him, he's like, oh, yeah, we do this stuff. I don't have time. They don't pay me enough money to be marking all these papers, So I'll go get other students, I'll try, I get people like you, like, hey, help me out. And then I'll help you with your exams. I'll give you some, I'll hook you up. You ain't hook me up with nothing.
Wow. I do hope that this is still not ongoing, right?
I'll be surprised if it's not ongoing. How much they pay those guys? I'll be surprised if it's not ongoing. But I completely forgot about it until you mentioned Jamb and all that stuff coming back. I was like, yeah, I did stuff. Yeah, this teachers, but because there's some people I'm like, this person should never have failed. I didn't put myself in that category, but even my result, I was still surprised that when I saw my first WAEC result. But I'm not saying that's why I didn't get the result I was expecting.
Yeah.
But there were some people who are new, and like that guy got only one A, and his mom cost him, I think he got like 2 C's and the rest were D's. The mom caused the hell out of him. She was, but they didn't come from money, and it was a struggle buying WAEC forms, and so she expected him to pass that one in one sitting, and oh man, yeah. So I don't know if somebody did that to him and all that. So who knows? But some of us went through stuff like that. But yeah. So you got into University of Jos. Now, while you were in Jos, because one thing I admire about Jos, I still remember about Jos, is the weather from my time.
Yeah.
Now, you noticed when you went to Imo State, you noticed the environment being different to your part of the north. But Jos is technically in the north, although middle belt.
Yeah.
But it's considered north. And so your time in Jos, did the weather surprise you or put you off?
No, actually, so the weather in Jos, in as much as it's kind of similar to the east, is not the same. Like, so Jos had its coolness. There's this coolness about it. There wasn't much rain in Plateau State, but in the east, it was always raining.
Yeah.
This is what I remember. It was always wet. But in Plateau State, there was this cool breeze, and I think that's why it was called Small London. Apparently,
Mm-hmm.
like the expatriates,
Oh yeah.
they would always want
They
to
love
settle
it.
in Plateau State because of
Mm-hmm.
the weather. Yes, because of the weather. It wasn't it wasn't too hot. It wasn't too dry. Like it was just conducive. It was just some fruits and some vegetables grew in Jos, and
Yeah,
they
you
didn't
could grow apples
grow
there.
anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yes, you could
And
grow apples. A
Nigeria's
lot is
winter
happening right
happens
now.
in Jos too.
Yes, yes.
And I think
So yeah, I think
Obudu.
yeah, Obudu Cattle. Yes, Obudu. Yes, Obudu is also a cool place. But yeah, in Plateau, there wasn't much. Yeah, I loved it. The weather was, just perfect, and the people were so slightly different from Gombe State. I must admit, like they just there was just they were more sociable, in Plateau State, and the fashion was top notch. I feel
Ah.
if you say you're just boy or just girl, like usually they expect to see some sort of a fashion icon in you, or just somebody that knows what's up.
Oh, okay.
In Plateau,
I have to
yeah,
update my resume now. I'd
yeah,
return
you
back
should,
to. Well, I always claim just born, but Pitaqua boy.
yeah,
So I think I can. I think that fits in there. But I think that explains a
yeah,
lot now about me knowing some style and all that. So
yeah,
I was born into it.
yeah.
Okay, makes
Yes, I
sense.
think yeah, you've got it. You've got it. Yeah, you've got a year. But yeah, Plateau. Yeah, I loved it. I made incredible friends there, and it was quite short, and I had to leave. I had to say goodbye. But yeah,
All right. So now we're going to jump into your living, which means living Nigeria. But
yeah.
before we do that, let's take a quick break and return back.
Okay.
We'll be right back shortly. Hi, everyone. Your host, Raphael Harry here. I can't believe we've gone past our 1 year anniversary of doing White Label American. I've had the privilege of speaking with some amazing people sharing their modern day immigrant stories. And you've allowed this Nigerian immigrant to share parts of his immigrant journey through this podcast. Also, one of my goals of this podcast is breaking down artificial walls that keep people from getting to understand each other. Based on your wonderful feedback over the last year, I think we have done a decent job in breaking down some of those walls. We would like to continue and expand on this mission, but we need your help. I've had an amazing time creating and producing episodes for this show largely on my own. We have a lot of ideas for new and exciting content to expand upon the mission, but we need direct support from you, our listener, which is why we have created a White Label American Patreon page where you can make a one-time donation or become a sustaining contributor where you can get access to exclusive content, help me interview upcoming guests by submitting questions, and even have the chance to sit down with me for a one-on-one conversation, either virtually or in studio. So if this podcast means something to you, and if you really love this show, think about becoming a sustaining contributor and donating by going to patreon.com/whitelabelamericanpod. Thanks for listening and for the privilege of your company. Okay, so welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And we just left Josh, and now we are on. Did you take KLM flights too? Because almost everybody I know took KLM.
How did you know this? Yeah, I actually got on
I don't know.
KLM.
KLM needs to come sponsor this podcast. Somebody needs to put me in touch with KLM Airlines because almost every immigrant who came from Africa It doesn't matter
Yeah.
because but before I was saying Nigeria, but now I've discovered that it's not just limited to Nigeria. There's people from Tanzania, from
African. Yeah.
whatever countries. Like we all came. It doesn't even matter if you're coming to the United States or the UK. It's like KLM. Go jump on KLM
Yeah.
and leave.
Yeah. It was Kellam. Yeah. It was Kellam. Straight to Schiphol. Yeah. But
Wow.
yeah, it was Kellam. Yeah. And yeah, and landed straight to to Scotland in Glasgow.
Oh, so you flew. Scotland was your first port of call. Okay, so
Yes.
why did you make that move?
Okay, marriage, really. So
Wow,
I'd
I wasn't expecting that.
obviously gone through. Yes, it was. Yeah, I got married before coming to Scotland. My husband was already here
Okay.
and was studying in Scotland, and I was back home whilst I was still in university. We were seeing and stuff, and then he came back home. We got married, and then we decided to move to the UK. And well, he was still studying at the time. He was still rounding up his PhD in Glasgow. And yeah,
Oh,
so I
okay.
joined
So
him in
that's why
Glasgow,
Scotland. So did you guys meet in college or you met in?
Nigeria.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, in Nigeria, and we are from the same village, from the
Oh
same, obviously
wow,
from the same. Yeah, we're still family friends.
wow, that is some strong love right there.
Yes,
You've known each other for like forever.
yes, really, yes, we have.
Yeah, that's hard to hide secrets. I need to interview him and see if he can still be like, can you really hide anything from Sarah? Let me see if you still. Yeah, I'm gonna still interview him and ask him. I have questions
You
especially
love
for
it,
him.
actually. Oh, you're being for a shock. I will also be for a shock because the things that he would come out with, well,
Yeah,
they say don't.
I think you still come out on top. You win. You win. I'll give you the win. Before we even, yeah,
Yeah.
you still win.
Yes.
So, what time of the year did you arrive in Scotland?
In March, so it was winter basically.
Ah,
At the time, it was quite cold. Basically, it was
so
snowy at the
yeah.
time.
So how was that like for you?
Obviously, it was shocking. It was like, whoa, everyone's white.
Oh, there was
And,
snow too.
yeah, there
So
was
you got
snow.
you got a
Yes, and
perfect welcome.
yes, and but luckily, I was wrapped up very well, so
Unlike
I'd
me, you
gotten ready,
listened.
and yeah,
That's the thing.
I was wrapped
Women
up
tend
very
to
well.
listen and pay attention. Like men will be like, I looked at what is it? I looked at the weather. It's the same as Lagos or it's the same as Nigeria. It's not different. I'm coming from Georgia, just as winter too. Well, what's the difference there? My friend, it's not cold. And then you reach the brother. I better put it back on the plane.
Yeah,
I'm going back.
take me back.
You want to kill somebody?
No,
You don't tell us that. What is this? Like was it last year? Yeah, I think it was last year or the year before. There was something trendy on Twitter. There was this. It was. I think it snowed heavily in some part of Canada, and there was like
okay.
the snow was so huge that you could barely. There was they dug a hole for a car to drive through, and it was just this
Yeah.
the single car. So like the snow was like really high that it you could barely all you could see was just the top of the car moving.
Oh
Right,
wow.
right. Also, just like you, so you see, like if it's like you see a white field, and then you just see the top of the car driving through. And I think the person who posted it was Nigerian born, and it was like, "Oh, Nigerians will be like,
Yeah,
I want to come to, give me visa, let me move to
Canada.
Canada. Will you move here if you see this type of thing? Will you still come?" People like my brother, give me the visa, I will still come. I
You
don't
give
care. I
me
will
first.
give
Yeah,
me shovel too. I will dig it. People were commenting. Give me
yeah,
shovel. I
yeah.
will
At this
dig
rate,
it.
everybody, yeah,
Eh,
everybody wants to
Every,
leave
everybody
now.
was commenting, and I was like, yeah, but I mean, I agree. I'm not saying I would have said the same thing too if back before I left the United States. I would have said the exact same thing. But yeah, it's just one thing to say that until you land there and then you're like, oh, this thing is really cold though.
It's real. Yeah, it's
It looks
different.
beautiful.
You just have to experience it.
You
Yeah,
love it. You're like, oh, it's beautiful. Then when you stand in it for 5 minutes, gone. I can't feel my foot anymore. Wait. Why don't tell me say it cool like this?
Yeah. But yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from Scotland, you moved again. Wow,
Yes,
you
I
guys
moved.
didn't
Yeah.
like the Highlands. That wasn't the plan.
No. No, do you know, I would pay to go back to Scotland. It was so beautiful. I loved it there. I went to university. So basically, when I left Jos, I
Mm-hmm.
started university in Glasgow, and so obviously it was completely a different setting. So that was my first experience of schooling. I was actually the only African in my class.
Wow.
So yeah, literally like.
Wait. What was that like? What was that experience like?
It was. I think I liked it because like there was so much attention on me in a way. But in as much as I do not like being the center of attention. But it was glaring that everybody was looking at me. People wanted to be friends with me actually, which was funny. Until I think the second term, the second semester, that
Yeah.
another guy from Zimbabwe, well, kind of grew up in Britain, came and joined the class, and we became friends also. But yeah, lots of them, there were Africans or black people around in the
Okay, in
university,
the
but
university.
in my own class,
Yeah.
but in my
But your
own class,
class was
I
just
was only yes, so
okay.
I was only one until Gilbert joined. So yeah, it was different. I had loads of friends, which and I'm still in very very much contact with. My closest friend is from Scotland, from Glasgow. So yeah, I loved it there, but I had to leave after my second year to Manchester. So that's how we moved.
Why Manchester?
Why Manchester? Okay, so the reason why actually we moved was my husband got a job. So after his PhD, he got a job. He was working in Glasgow, but then got a better offer
Yeah.
at a university in Manchester. And obviously we weighed it. He was working here, and I was back in Glasgow, but it was just a bit of too much traveling back and forth. And
Yeah.
when I knew that I could actually transfer my university to Manchester, and we didn't have we didn't have kids at the time, so it was just easier
Mm-hmm.
to move or to join him in Manchester. And it was bigger. It's different also. That's England, moving away from Scotland. So yeah, it was my husband's job that got us to Manchester, where we are
How far
currently.
is Manchester from Glasgow?
About 3 hours drive.
Okay.
Well, depending on what kind of car you've got, but yeah, at the time it
Well, on
was about
average.
three.
Yeah.
Yeah, was it? Yeah, it was three, less than four. Yeah, let's say average 3 hours.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So if I know you've been in Manchester for a while now, but if
Yeah.
you are giving like, okay, yes, £5 million, Manchester or Glasgow, where will you choose? £5 million
So do
tax
you mean
free.
like
You don't have to pay tax. It's all yours.
right to
Pick
stay
one
in Manchester or to
or
go to
Glasgow.
Scotland?
Yeah.
So with the clash and then to choose Manchester or Glasgow.
Yeah, you have £5 million. Take, but which city will you
Huge.
choose to stay in?
Honestly, now if my Manchester people could hear this, they will heartbroken. But seriously, I would go back to Scotland. I just absolutely loved it. Like we were younger, we were students.
Yeah.
Well, my husband was still studying and working, but like we were literally living in the university. The university was opposite our house.
Okay.
The city centre was just next door. The church was there, the gym was in the university, like literally everything was just around us. We had a car, but we rarely used it because you could easily walk everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was just something about Glasgow. There was something about Scotland that I just wanted to experience it again. We do go back to see friends and family, friends there, but since the world's changed because of
Yeah.
the pandemic, we've not been. But it's one of the places I would love to jump in straight back as soon as we're out of lockdown.
Yeah. Yeah, with vaccines, there's hope. So, yep,
Yeah.
you'll get your wish soon, and you'll be able to,
Yes.
you know,
Fingers crossed.
yeah. So, um, you moved to Manchester. You started life there with your husband, and the family starts to grow.
Yeah.
And you make career switches, and you don't do the it's so let me rephrase it. So you go back, so going back to the way I kind of got my messaging in Nigeria, it's kind of like,
Mm.
if you got into like banking and you had an opportunity to like keep growing in bank. You stayed banking was one of the big things, for us as
Yeah.
kids. Like
Yes.
you're told go into banking. It's one of those proud professions. Like you're top dog if you go into banking. You're the pride of the family
Hmm.
if you're in banking. And you didn't just say, okay, I'm in banking, I'm gonna stick there. You could have stayed there. It's not like you were a failure in banking. You were
Yeah, it was
you
easy.
you
Yeah, it
you
was
you
easy
you,
to
you
jump from
you've
one
worked
bank to the other. But
you've worked in different places, different cities, and different continents.
yeah,
So you have
yeah,
an experience that many people cannot compete with. But you still decided to move to a different career and make a switch that it's not really a message that is encouraged in our communities. We don't really do that
mm,
message of except we still it's like too much risk involved, especially if you
yeah,
have something good already going. It's like, yeah, why give it up, except
yeah,
you're 100% guaranteed to succeed in the other side. Then yeah, then make that switch. Otherwise, stay where you are. So
yeah.
what inspired you to make your career switch, and take that leap of faith? So,
Yeah. So yeah, I think I can't. Yeah, just like you mentioned, like banking. Sometimes when you, especially with banks, when you're in a bank, you find yourself jumping from this bank to the next bank to the next bank, and before you know it, like it's the whole career is banking, right?
yeah.
So I kind of found myself in that situation. I worked in two banks in Nigeria, and when I came to the UK, I also worked in a bank and was like, oh, okay, so this is actually following me. I need to break this, whatever it is, I need to break it. Not because I didn't enjoy banking, working in banks, but I've always been somebody who is quite adventurous. I want to see what other sectors are doing. I wanted to learn other things. So I thought, basically from banking, I did work in insurance. I did work in the barring, so like disclosure companies where they would do criminal record checks,
Mm-hmm.
and so I did all of that. But another big thing that I really wanted to venture into was a state agency, was real estate basically. And I thought, the way to go about it is to actually go and study it. I just didn't want to just go into a job without knowing so much. Like I do want to kind of like just learn the job learn on the job. I wanted to
Yeah.
actually know the theory part of it.
You didn't want to go in
So
blind.
yes, yes, I did, start working in the real estate as a part-time worker, but I was working towards getting a master's in real estate and property management. And so yes, I was shuffling working
Yeah.
in the property industry while I was learning, in the university. So I went to university again here in Manchester, and I did got a master's in real estate and property management. So that was something that I was like, yes, almost like it was on the bucket list, but I had a passion for it. So I loved it. I think I worked in the industry for 6 years. And but then again, I was still hungry for something. Like I just knew that something wasn't there yet. And so from there, that's when I went into community engagement, working in the nonprofit. And this is basically home, working you know, for a community, working with people like in need. And
Hmm.
yeah, this is the main passion to work in a non-for-profit organization.
So I like that you brought that word and you said it twice now. Passion. And I
Yeah,
think it's important that we keep saying that word and presenting that word, especially to the in our community, because we tend to just beat career. We don't even beat career. We just say job. Get a job, or
Yeah.
just make money. But we
Yeah.
don't talk about passion. And if you don't really have a passion for whatever you're doing, for a project, for a mission, you don't need this. Like my guest from episode 63, I believe. Driven by purpose. You're not driven by purpose. Yeah, you go and fade out. You can still be successful, but that's how the burnout begins. Because one day you're just gonna look in the mirror and be like, I hate this stuff, or I hate myself. Why am I here? Kind of thing. And that's another reason why it's a lot easier for people to make that switch and take what you've already learned from what you're doing and apply it to another field and still find yourself successful. And success doesn't mean you have to make 1 million in one day and then, but it's a gradual thing. And, so it's another reason why this podcast exists, to show our other immigrants that, hey, it's not, and our other listeners that it's not about sticking to just one part. And if that part is right for you, then you already have your passion in that part, then it's good. There's no problem there. But if you are having questions, then maybe you should ask yourself, do I have a passion for what I'm doing? If you don't have a passion, there's nothing wrong with going back to school, or making that switch, or going to learn. There are other ways to learn. School might not be the path, but there are options. Just don't drown yourself in one place. So now another thing you mentioned in your answer was the nonprofit, and I thought about saying that in the intro, but I wanted to make people wait a little bit for the juice. So you are the founder and CEO of Yarang Llamisi Foundation. Did I say the name right?
Yes, you said it right, actually. Yes.
Yarang sounds like a name that I was familiar with from the Jos area, Plateau area. So, but I know it wasn't Y, but it was a different spelling. So that's why I've been able to get that word correct. So you're the founder of Yarang Llamisi Foundation, and can you tell us a little bit about that and the reason why that foundation exists?
Yeah, so just carrying on from the last bit that, I've worked in all sectors and, found kind of some sort of happiness, but I wasn't much fulfilled. And so I thought, it's always been a dream to work with women and girls to give, especially with, in terms of girl child education in the North. So it's always been something that I knew I would not be able to, I needed to do it. I needed to give other girls the platform to be educated, especially Northern girls. So I been working and researching and, on how to go about what I needed to do. So I was doing some things on the side, quietly and sponsoring some people, but it kind of like, I needed to come out, and with the right support system, with the right people around me, my husband and also my friend and mentor, Memory, basically kind of pushed me into, not pushed me, like kind of like directed me to actualizing this dream and making it into a non-for-profit organization. So I founded this just in July last year, 2020. Yeah, July 2020. And so Yarang Llamisi, basically the vision is to serve as a platform for girls and young women, regardless of their religion, their income level, or social status, and just to be nurtured and empowered, and also just to mainly reach their full potential. You find like a lot of girls especially in the village, have no clue, basically no education. The boys would go to school, but the girls end up not going to school. And then before you know it, there's early child marriage, and that's it, it's all done. Or the highest they would go is primary school, and then there's no secondary school. So I wanted to change that narrative. A lot is going on, and I give it to the government, I give it to the communities, I give it to people that, are pushing for education, especially girl child education. So I was more passionate or drawn to building a school in my village, building a secondary school in my village. The dream is still there. We've still not gotten there yet. So whilst we're waiting to build to get to that, I also wanted to use the opportunity to give women that have actually missed out in education a second chance. So I have a program called the Second Chance Initiative, where we wanted to see women trained in vocational skills, and how to sew, how to knit, how to make crafts, and learn how to make soaps and liquid soaps and seasoning, whatever it is. Just get them to be self-reliant, get them to have a skill and hopefully whatever they are going to learn, they can turn it into a business, and they wouldn't have to rely on what they're given by family or by husband, because the norm is, from how I grew up, is women wait for the husband to give them 100 naira, whatever, to actually find something to eat. And if the husband hasn't, sold anything in the market or hasn't been able to give something for food, then what happens? So I wanted to see as many women empowered. I wanted to see as many women being self-reliant, apart from just being educated. So yeah, that has been founded, and we've been working. I'm using Gombe State as a pilot, because the whole dream is to be able to cover the north of Nigeria. But I'm using my own state because that is my immediate community.
Yeah.
And even in the state, so I wanted to start from there, start small and see how it goes. So just last week, on Monday, we launched the vocational training center in the village, where we've started with 50 women for now. I wanted to keep it small because obviously the COVID-19 is still there, and
yes.
I didn't, I didn't want to get a place crowded. Yes, so we're starting with 50 women, giving them a skill. So it's the reception is incredible. So the launch, when I saw the video, obviously I wasn't there. I was like, yes, this is one step to achieving that dream. So and the testimonies from the video were just like, yes, I think we've done something right. And in terms of the education, whilst we're waiting for more resources to be able to build a school, we're just using the opportunity to sponsor girls to further the education, sponsor girls from the communities to pay their, first of all, to start with school fees.
Yes.
To ensure that that their school fees is not a barrier. The exams fees that they pay, WIAC and NICO, that they have to register for.
A big barrier.
Because that one, you find that parents that, we can't afford it. So, where would the girl find that money? So we thought, okay, this could be somewhere we could chip in. So we are working with a few girls right now, getting them into that step to an education. So they are already kind of in education, but we're still scouting for as many that aren't in to be able to sponsor them before we can actually have our own school. And I'm big on encouraging girls and women to be self-reliant. I want to equip them. I want to educate them. I want to just motivate them, empower them with whatever they within my capability. And so that is what we're doing in Nigeria. And Yarang Llamisi Foundation is also operating here in the UK. And I'm using my immediate community to raise awareness, not just education. Obviously, here there is quality classroom education, but as we know, education just doesn't stop in classroom. And so what the foundation is working towards is raising awareness within the Black and minority ethnic groups among girls in my direct community here in Withenshaw. Is one of the largest estates apparently in Europe, actually. So it's a big place. Yes. Okay. So I live here. And so we're working with young girls and young women here in terms of, just to educate them, to talk about mental health. If you're from, with African backgrounds, mental health is not
Yeah.
something that we
No,
talk
but
about
yeah.
or we knew about.
Mm-hmm.
And in as much as, most of these girls were born here, but there are some that have actually landed from Africa and do not understand certain things. They
We
still cannot
carry
discuss.
whole lot of our baggage with us, and
Yes, with us, exactly.
so we've
So
transferred
I
it.
wanted to, yeah, I wanted to be a kind of, wanted to create a safe place where girls can feel free to talk about their mental health.
Mm.
So we're working in synergy with, a lot of other organizations that can, provide this um, therapy or whatever, whatever how they work it, but just to get mental health
Yeah.
in check, and also to talk about some topics that we avoid talking about as Africans and as African girls and women is sexual and reproductive health. You could talk about
That
these
was
things.
probably going to be one of my questions, but yes, it's
Yeah, kind of, yeah, it's just something that we just had to touch on. So these are the things that we want to be able to give room for our girls to be able to feel free, want to normalize it. Yes, there's access to the mainstream services. You can go to your doctor to talk about certain things, but with a typical African woman, especially if you find somebody from the north, like literally there's certain things that they wouldn't want to say,
yeah.
they wouldn't want to even talk about. So we thought having a service, having an organization like this that, they come in and see somebody that looks like them and, is a professional, can talk about certain things with them.
It's
So
part of
general
breaking
guidance
down
and
the barrier
counseling.
too.
Yes, break it. Yes, exactly. And also to talk about, to encourage them to go into politics, to go into leadership
Oh
roles.
yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
yeah,
Very
because
important.
there's not much representative, among, BME groups in politics and in leadership, even in our places of work, you find that most of us are at the bottom of the food chain,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not okay. And it's not just because we don't want to do it, but it's just to build that confidence,
Yeah.
to be equipped and be ready to, as soon as an opportunity avails itself, grab it and go for it. So yeah, this is what we're doing here, and just general empowerment. Yes, girl, you can do it, and
Oh yeah.
just to be a support system to them. So I'm, like I said, I'm big on community engagement, and I always feel like to make the best impact or the most impact, I would rather start with my next door neighbor, rather start with my immediate community. And that's why the strategy of what we're doing as an organization is to start small.
Yes.
And my father-in-law says to me, because I said to him, "Oh, it's a small NGO." He says, "No, small is beautiful." And I want to hold this in my head. It's like, small is beautiful. Start small, and before you know it, it's everywhere.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, yeah,
It's you're starting. It's one step at a time, but
yeah,
if you're not making this little step, the ripples will go. It will be felt
yeah,
everywhere because
yeah,
it's a service that is long overdue, and
yeah,
um, it's something that we shouldn't have these problems today, but
yeah.
unfortunately they are there, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why we need people like you stepping up, and we need people like myself showing support too, because
Mm-hmm.
us men, we need to be in support of our
Yeah,
sisters doing stuff like this,
yeah,
because it's not for us to
yeah,
just say, oh, the women are doing it. Okay, so well, yeah, let them do it. We just go and hide in one corner. Like, no, we have
yeah,
to be there for you. We have to keep, even if we don't have the money, we have to use our voice and shout
yeah,
it at the rooftop
yeah,
and, keep
yeah.
supporting. Um, One question, though, well, actually, two questions. Uh, are there plans for the UK, um, the UK version or the UK branch and
Mm.
the Nigerian branch or the Northern Nigerian branch to interact with each other? Because I feel like there's an opportunity for the women. I know that the language might be a barrier, but I think that can be
Yeah,
overcome if you have
yeah.
someone doing translation. But are there
Mm.
plans to have interactions between, as well, like the younger ones, to bring that
Yeah,
interaction, especially with technology of today, creating that
yeah,
opportunity for
Yeah.
people to see themselves and start, because I think that would be a huge help in when it comes to um, breaching the barriers on topics like
Yeah.
sexual reproductive
Yeah.
health and
Health.
all those
Yeah. Yeah.
everything that's supposed to be a taboo, and
Yeah.
when another big issue is still with especially for women who do not identify as by the norm of when it comes to representation, the
Yeah.
LGBTQ community,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially back in Nigeria. Are they welcome to be part of the project? Do they have protection? Are they guaranteed to?
Absolutely, absolutely. We're in for inclusion. You see, so we're all one. I want to see this as, we're all in this, we're all sharing this planet together. I do not have, everybody's welcome. And just to answer your first question, yes, there is going to be room for collaboration, as for both arms of Yarang Lamisi Foundation. In short, we call it YLF. So just if you
Wildlife.
find it as
Okay.
a mouthful, is YLF, yes.
Okay.
So currently we have both. Our social media platforms are separated.
Okay. Good.
Reason being is this is a step that we want to. So the things that we post on the website for YLF UK would still feature in the social media platforms that you would be able to click and see and read for yourself. So we've made it in a way that you can feed off. You can see what we do in Nigeria,
Yeah.
and you can see what we do in the UK. You can learn what we're doing in the UK if you're in Nigeria. You can learn what we're doing in Nigeria if you're in the UK. So we thought, just keep it under one roof. Just is a way of raising that awareness, and hopefully very soon we're going to do a collaborative Zoom kind of conference.
Okay.
Call it, yeah. So where the two arms will meet. The girls that we're working with, we would make provision for them to come on live with us, to just talk about certain things, and just to kind of like have a clear understanding. But the good thing is the ones here know the presence. Obviously, the girls that we work with, the women that we work with here, know that there is a big presence also in Nigeria. But in terms of the way we fund is entirely different, and I wouldn't want to even dive in too much into it.
All right.
The Nigerian one is completely self-funded.
Okay.
The UK one, we've got some grants, which we're very, very much thankful for. The National Lottery was able to donate some funds for us to run a project called Resonate Hope.
All right.
And it's a 6 month project that we've just gone into the third month now. And so yes, in terms of funding, in terms of the things that we're doing, in terms of finance, are completely different. But the vision still, is still the same. We want to work with many girls and women, get them equipped, get them educated, build their self-confidence, and just get them to be mentored, counseled, and just want to lead them to feel accepted, understood, and just being able to contribute to their communities, to their lives. Yeah.
All right. I think that's a necessary step in giving women the ability, the say in uh, having control over their bodies too,
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
another
Yes.
battle that is still ongoing.
Self-image. Yeah.
Where the whole system trying to tell women that they can't have say over their own bodies. We don't have a business telling
Yeah.
women that's not our business. That's up to
Yeah.
women.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you
Absolutely.
for that, for the good job that you're doing, and I know there's more to come from from YLF. And remind me. I will afterwards remind me. I'll send you. I'll send you some stuff to someone to link up with, and yeah, there's something I will
Okay.
send you concerning the school. But yeah, just remind me afterwards.
Fantastic.
So
Okay. Cool.
beginning to wrap up.
Okay.
But before we wrap up, because I could do this episode could go on for like 3 hours, honestly. But
Yeah.
we have to wrap up so people don't be like, man, this guy kept me here for 3 hours, you know. But you know, you do a whole lot of good work, a lot of hard work. You're also a parent, you're a wife. There are people who still gonna be like, "Hey, aren't you doing too much?" You know, and what do you say to those people who like, man, shouldn't you focus on just being a wife and raising kids, you know, and aren't you, why do you need to do all this? What do you say when people bring up those type of? Because I know there are different ways people throw that at women who are
Question asked. Yeah.
successful, women who are doing giving back to the community, and it grinds my bones when I hear that, and I get mad. But but I think it will sound much more better coming from you. So, what do you say when people bring those type of questions to you?
Um. Okay. To be honest, I really haven't been asked directly. Obviously, there are ways that you get these
Yeah,
questions,
they
but
bring
I
in
think
subtle
I
manner
think
most of the time.
yeah, yeah. But I think the people that actually know me well and understand, you know, that I am big on balance in my life. So sometimes they kind of like choose how to even ask the questions because they would always get to the right answer. So yeah, but sometimes really they say, okay, so Sarah, how do you do this? You work full time. So I work for a non-for-profit organization as a full-time work. It's called Olive Pathway. It's here in my community also in Wooden Shore,
Oh wow.
founded by somebody, a friend, a mentor.
Yeah.
So I work as a project lead there. So it's a full-time role. And obviously I'm running YLF, and I've got my family. My mind is at home, as in Nigeria. So there's so much going on, and I'm doing a business analysis course at the same time.
Oh yeah.
So it's a how, yeah, and then I have a food business, and so what's how do you do this? You need to chill, or yes, but they don't really come in to say why don't you focus on just being a wife. I haven't been asked this question directly because like I said, they know that I'm big on balance or whatever it is. I just, especially putting my family first is always top priority. So whatever I'm doing, family is first, and then I have to juggle the rest and also create time for self-care.
Of course.
So I
Self
don't know
care
how I'm
very
doing
important.
it.
So,
Yeah, I don't know how I'm doing it,
what
but I'm
what
doing it.
what advice will you give to anyone looking at you saying, I want to be on this part. I want to be as awesome as Sarah is. You know, especially the younger
Mm,
ones. What would
yeah,
you advise? What would your advice to them be?
yeah. Okay,
And this is
yeah.
not just
So,
for only girls,
um,
because even young boys might be like, "Wow, I want to
boys,
be like
yes.
Sarah when I grow up."
I think for me, I think just if you have found a passion, right, follow it. I think follow the passion that you've got. And I wish I had been, consistent in following my passion because I might have, have had better clue and about career management, etc., etc. But and in as much as I was competent, or I would like to think I had been competent at my previous jobs, but it took me long to realize that I was losing a sense of purpose, and basically I wanted to put my passion into work,
Mm-hmm.
into my daily work. So anyway, passion would always, always, always mostly provide the energy that would help one to be motivated. And so I would always say, if you discover a passion, just follow it. Surround yourself with, good people, with, have a good support system if you don't have it. Seriously, we live in a click and get generation right now.
Yeah.
Check Google, you'll find, just check, just research if you have the means. If you don't have, for those that would be in the village, honestly, you should have at least one role model in your life that you see. And hopefully there will be but whatever it is, if it is water that you just want to know how to understand what, how to make it into a selling product, or how to just give people water, honestly. And if you discover that that's the passion, just go for it. There's always a way. And then passion, I think, would always attract others and basically make you a strong leader. So whatever it is you're doing, if you've got the passion, passion will give you authenticity, and just follow what you love. Just don't be distracted by external factors I think whatever it is, the rest will follow.
Yeah.
Just go with the flow.
All
And
right.
yeah.
Well, I think that's just too beautiful. I don't think I should add any more to that. That might just be the best place to end it on. Cause yeah, I don't want to take that energy away. That energy is too good right there. So Sarah, how do you say thank you in your language?
Okay, so in Terra is Nakuna.
Nakuna. Mm.
Yes, or Nagode.
Yeah,
Nagode
not
is faster.
Nagode.
So just if you,
Nagode.
yeah.
I know
But
some basic outside. Like that's the like one of the
yeah,
last house I still left in me. All the
yes,
outside got
Nagode,
beat
yeah.
out of
But
me, but yeah. So, Nakuna.
yeah,
Okay, so
Nakuna. Yes, Nakuna, yeah.
Nakuna, Sarah, for coming on the podcast. And how can people find Yarang Lamisi Foundation, or if they want to get in touch, well, how can people
Yeah,
get connected?
yeah. I think we're on social media. So it's just straight Yarang Lamisi Foundation, all one word. On Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram, and on the websites. We have two websites. We have separate websites for the UK and Nigeria.
Okay.
Initially, we had one website, but we have two now. So it's just YLF UK or YLF NG. You should, a Google search should be able to bring it up.
I'll add all
Yeah.
to the show notes when I release the
Okay,
episode.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Fantastic.
So Nakuna, Sarah, and to listeners, if you hear Nakuna, don't be like, "Hey, are you speaking Swahili?" No, I'm not speaking Swahili. It's Swahili is Asante.
Tira.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll be in touch, and thank you, and to everyone listening, Nakuna, for the privilege of your company. See you at the next episode. Keep the love coming in, and keep sharing, and yeah, catch you. Thanks for listening to White Label American. If you enjoyed the show, we'll appreciate if you rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from. If you have any questions, comments, or have someone who will be a good guest on the show, or you want to be on the show, send us a message at whitelabelamerican@gmail.com. And make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at White Label American. Thank you for your support.